Hello and welcome to another update video about Bitcoin. We can see that Bitcoin is dropping further. Already talked about in the last video, but it's dropping a little bit more than I anticipated, which is interesting. Yeah, and at some point now we need to think about will it still get to this higher area? I mean, if we take a look here on the Bitcoin chart, we anticipated that this here would be in wave A, coming up in a wave B, going down in wave C after the 45.8k were broken to the upside, which basically made this scenario down here, so to go down straight away, less likely. This scenario here became then much more likely in a wave B up and then down in a C. So this scenario is and will still be the one that I expect the price to go into, either directly or through this extended move up and then down. Primary scenario now, as you know, is to go up first into this region between 55 or at least 51k we should do, and then come down, yeah. But it didn't even reach the 51k, so for me it's a bit too early to turn around. I mean, we saw on the chart a potential reversal, but I did not anticipate that we really drop below the 45.5k. We even dropped below 44.5k, but you could still count, in my opinion, you could still count it as a retest, because this is the area where we had a lot of previous support and resistance. So if we add the VPVR to the chart, you can see that this actually is an important support level here around 44k. Okay, so we did come to that area. So at the moment it's still all okay, but in my opinion, as soon as you drop below 42.7k, yeah, then we really need to seriously consider that we might still be in that scenario that we go down straight away. Nothing I would think is going to happen. Yeah, I don't think this is going to happen. I still think, because we broke that 45.8k, that we are going higher now. But the problem is a little bit that Bitcoin did not manage to hold above that 45.8k level. A retest would have been fantastic. We could still do at the moment that retest of the 44.5k level, but I already said in the last video, if we drop below 42.7, which would be basically this support level, previous resistance, now support, we have some important support there, yeah, also here, previous support, resistance, yeah, in this area here. So basically, if you come below that level, then we can expect the price again to fall into this region. This is the region anyway where we expect the price to go into. It just became much more likely after a breakout above 45.8k to go first in that wave B direction and then the wave down. To go down straight away now, I find quite unlikely, but of course this is still the scenario that I expect in the end to work out. And which way Bitcoin is going to get there, only Bitcoin can decide. But yeah, for me, it was much more likely to go up first and then down. And this scenario is still the primary scenario now, given that we broke above that 45.8k, basically with that move, made this immediate sell-off much less likely. But it's certainly striking how impulsive the price is coming down here at the moment. I mean, we looked at this hanging man pattern that really seems to be working out, yeah, but how much of a correction you get was not possible to see, yeah. Obviously here, it usually is decided here on the daily in this sort of current range and wave pattern. We talked about that on the MACD, on the daily and the RSI. If that is turning around, you can of course see an effect on the price. The thing is, how much will the price be affected? Because that is what you can't see really. You can see that the price is going to drop, but how much is it really going to disturb this temporary uptrend into this green area? Is it just a dip and a retest on the daily, or is it going to translate over into the 2-day chart? And on the 2-day chart, we can already see now an effect on the MACD as well. Or is it even affecting the 4-day chart, which is currently not really affected, even though the MACD on the 4-day chart is starting to flatten out. So if you see the 2-day and the 4-day chart affected, then I think we need to seriously consider that Bitcoin small vacation up here in the area above 45.8k was a very short vacation, and that Bitcoin has to fly back into the regions here below, possibly even below 29k. Yeah, this is still what I primarily expect to work out in the end. Yeah, and I mean, it all has its good and bad sides. Getting up there first into the green target area for me would be an opportunity to take some profits. Selling off straight away is what I originally expected anyway, and what I also expected after reaching the green target area. So that is pretty much in the plan anyway. So there are still lower buy orders that I have set anyway and have not deactivated because they are all still very valid. So again, we are in a phase here, in a very difficult phase at the moment, where Bitcoin does not give us clear signals at the moment. So yeah, it's very interesting. So a drop below 42.7 would change things for me. As long as we stay above that level, I would personally still consider that a retest. However, I think we've got obviously the next support. We saw that 44k, that was on the VPVR, and below that it would be that 42.7k level. And again, if you drop below that, what is the next support? In my opinion, even here, that support level of that channel that we can see here. Some people call it a bear flag. Yeah, possible. And then we get down to that 38.9, 34.5, 33 in the target area. So very, very exciting days. It will also be a very exciting weekend. I mean, we already, and I posted it on the Telegram channel yesterday, for the channel members, that we have closed the CME gap. That is typically what happens, or what happened recently. So if I go to the 4-hour chart, what is a CME gap? CME gap is of that futures exchange, the CME. On a Friday, obviously they close. On the Sunday, they open. That leaves a gap. Usually what you see in the coming week is that this gap gets closed. And in this case, it was closed. Of course, if the Bitcoin price is turning around and closing it, it doesn't mean it needs to stop here at the beginning of the gap. It can just go through because we have a negative momentum ongoing. So I posted that yesterday on the Telegram group, CME gap. If we compare that to how the CME gap was closed the previous weeks, you can see here we had another CME gap, and that was closed as well in the following week. Here we had also a CME gap that was closed nearly, and then we came back to it once more. So it's just really interesting how in this current environment in which we are, the CME gaps have always been closed and actually resulted in a small trend reversal to the downside. So very interesting, generally how the price looks for me. Still possible that we reach that green target area up there, but we need to become cautious because we dropped a little bit more now than I anticipated. And also Bitcoin did not manage to break that 200-day moving average, that 48k level. For me, that was a very important, is an important level, but I anticipated it to not have that many difficulties to break the level, and that Bitcoin would reach more easily at least the 51k level. Now it's very interesting. Keep an eye on the chart. That of course affects the entire altcoin market, but I mean, it sort of was due and is due a bit of a correction after just moving up for 2 or 3 weeks. So that's not a surprise really. And we talked about upcoming dips in the last few videos. But the thing is, how impulsive Bitcoin is now coming down is quite striking. I mean, if you can take a look here, how strong these candles are, and also the negative or the selling volume is quite high. So it is, it's a bit more of a sell-off than I anticipated in this current scenario. Okay, so I'll definitely keep you updated here today and on the weekend, as you know. If you don't want to miss anything, subscribe to the channel. Hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment, subscribe. And if you really like the content, then check out the channel membership. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.